How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be doing my recap for UFC 301, Pantoja vs. Erceg, my thoughts on the card as a whole, and kind of just talking about the event. Let's get right into the main event. Now, of course, a lot of controversy has spawned out of the main event, and honestly, I believe it a little bit too. Here's the thing. After the fight on Twitter, I called it a blatant robbery, which, in hindsight, I believe that is a bit of a stretch. The fight was very close, and honestly, I can understand the judges coming to the conclusion of a 48-47 Pantoja scorecard. Because one, it's in Brazil, and two, he got a good chunk of control time. But when you factor in damage, it's very hard to point the finger and say that Pantoja won, in my personal opinion. Okay? The first round is the first and fourth round are the clearest rounds of the entire fight. The first round was clearly Pantoja. Erceg couldn't really find anything in the first round. The fourth round, Erceg was landing on all cylinders. So it's 1-1. The other three rounds, specifically like rounds 3 and 5, are pretty damn close. I think round 2 is more of a clear Erceg round than Pantoja. So it really comes down to how you score the third and the fifth round. And the third round is the really tricky one because Alexandre, it's not the third, it's the fifth round. That is the tricky one. The third round, they're pretty equal on damage. The big story of the fight are the two large cuts that Erceg got on Pantoja with elbows when Pantoja was running in. Besides that, Erceg didn't do a significant a lot in the round, but I can understand people giving the third round to Pantoja, in my personal opinion, because it's damage. Damage is the key criteria of the fight, and that was the most damaging strike, and Pantoja was literally reaching to the top of his head because the cut was... He was like, oh shit, I got cut. We rarely see that in the UFC, especially from a champion-level fighter. The fifth round, in my... Listen, again, I'm going to say my opinion. I think the fifth round is a pretty clear Erceg round, if I'm being honest. I can understand you giving it to Pantoja due to control. On damage, Erceg outstruck him on headshots, because they're going to say, oh, but Pantoja outstruck him in the fifth round. Not on headshots. And a lot of the headshots that Erceg was landing were pretty significant. He also cut open Pantoja. He cut him open. He also was going for his own takedowns. People are counting control with no damage, which a lot of people don't understand. That is a way further down scoring criteria in a fight. It just is. The facts are the facts, and that damage is the main scoring criteria, and control on the ground is like third or fourth or fifth, I think. I think it's fourth or fifth in scoring. And also, it's not like Pantoja was doing like an unhealthy amount of ground and pound in the fifth round either. He landed some shots. He also didn't go for like any submissions in this fight, other than I think the first or second round is when he went for like an attempt, because he got Steve Erceg's back a couple of times, and people are like, well, he got the back. The round's his. That's not how that's not how it works, okay? You have to be fighting for something. He never fought for a submission in the fifth round, okay? Now, I will say this about Steve Erceg. I think he had a very bad fight IQ moment in the fifth round going for the takedown, which eventually led to Pantoja getting the last minute of control time, which a lot of people are saying sealed his fate. He lost the fight because of that. That's not how that works, okay? Even though that was a dumb decision by Erceg. And eventually, that's what the judges favored over the cut and the strikes that Steve Erceg was landing. I don't understand it either. It is what it is. Listen. Very good fight, may I add. Very good fight. Very underrated. Going in, I knew that it was going to be probably a war because Pantoja doesn't get knocked out. And Steve Erceg, he has slick striking and good, like, ground fundamentals. He put up a better fight than Moreno or Brandon Royval did in his fourth ever UFC fight. That's fucking crazy, dude. Steve Erceg will become a champion. I'm not that worried about him, because if he's able to do that against Alexandre Pantoja, I see him easily beating guys like Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval, and I don't think there's even a competition between him and Muhammad Mokaev, for fuck's sake. And that fight also just... And Manel Kopp, I don't know about him. He's fucking weird. He might even move up, because he's fucking... I don't know what's going on with him. But that fight just shows me, in my personal opinion, Muhammad Mokaev stands no chance against Alexandre Pantoja, if I'm being honest. Like, there's no fucking way he stands a chance. Because Erceg was landing on all cylinders, and he is a great wrestler. If guys like Tim Elliott and Andre Fialho are getting on dominant positions on Muhammad Mokaev, call it raps. Call it fucking raps, dude. Pantoja will submit Muhammad Mokaev. What's next for either of these dudes? I hope Steve Erceg fights at 305. He's a very fun fighter. Get him in there against a top-ranked guy like Brandon Royval. Because if I'm being honest, I don't want to see him fight Pantoja again, because he's just going to lose again. That's literally all that fight's going to be. It's going to be a repeat of their second fight. Because I don't think Pantoja's going to finish him. I just think it's just going to be like him getting held down. Like, that's all that fight's going to be. It's going to be another boring fight. Because it's just... Their styles don't work with each other. It's just how that is. For Erceg, I think he should fight Brandon Royval. For Pantoja, he can sit out for a little bit, if I'm being honest, because he's been very active. He's fought 3 5-round fights since July of 2023. So that's coming up on... That's like 9 months. 3 fights in 9 months. Is that how that math... Is that math working? Like 10 month, 9 month, that range. That's fucking insane for a champion. He's been very active. He's had 3 going to decision fights. Let him sit out. Let flyweight marinate for a little bit. We need a clear-cut number 1 contender for this fucking guy. Because the top 5, he has like 7 wins over the guys in the top 5. That's fucking nuts, alright? We don't need to... we don't need to see him fight for a little bit. Let there be a clear number 1 contender. Let them rise up. And yeah, so I'm not going to call it a robbery. In my personal opinion, I think the fight should have been scored 48-47 at least for Steve Erceg. I can understand a 48-47 scorecard based on visuals, okay? But I think if you go off damage, you have to give the fight to Steve Erceg. I respect the shit out of Pantoja for taking a fight against Steve Erceg, because if I'm being honest, I think it's the worst stylistic matchup for him at flyweight. So, I don't know. Lovely fight. Can't wait to see both of these guys fight. It's going to be a fun time at flyweight with Steve Erceg, if I'm being honest, because when Alexandre Pantoja goes out, this is going to be the guy that either takes him out or reigns over the division for the foreseeable future. I'll tell you that much. We move to the co-main event, José Aldo versus Jonathan Martinez. Honestly, my pick of Jonathan Martinez didn't go out as I thought it would. José Aldo kind of just, like I said he would be able to do, is nullify the game. I thought Jonathan would work in the clinch more. He couldn't really get him there. He kind of had like an ego battle a little bit with José Aldo, which, you know, it is what it is. You know, it happens. Jose, for 37, looked fucking spectacular against a very young contender in Jonathan Martinez, who was on a 6-fight win streak, who has finished a couple of guys with leg kicks. I knew he wasn't going to finish Jose with leg kicks. I thought everybody saying that was fucking stupid. Because Jose Aldo has some of the best leg kick defense. And for the first round, it looked like Jonathan was timing him very well. Jose couldn't really time him, but as the fight went on, Jonathan legit just stopped throwing them, because I think Jose checked a couple of them, and he was like, well, that hurts. Jonathan was forced into a fight style that doesn't suit him well. I should have probably picked Jose Aldo, because in my video I said a lot of stuff that would benefit Jose, but I was like, I don't think so. Jonathan had a box with Jose, which doesn't really suit his style, and we could see that Jose was landing a lot more clear shots. Going into the third round, I knew it would have to be a finish for John, and for the first 3 minutes, it was looking like Jonathan could rally something up here. He was landing a lot of good shots. Jose started to slow down. We all know Jose doesn't have the best cardio. He tends to slow down near the third round and so on and so forth. But Jonathan and Jose get into a pocket exchange, and Jonathan got clipped pretty damn bad on his equilibrium with a left hook. Not his equilibrium, on his temple, which shattered his equilibrium. And he started dancing around. Jose started landing some knees. And then, almost in like a pitiful way, like he didn't want to finish Jonathan, Jose ends up taking down John for the rest of the round and holds him down, lands nasty ground and pound. Because if I'm being honest, with the way that Jonathan was standing, he honestly could have gotten a finish. José Aldo could have. But I think he was like gamesmanship, and after the fight, they had a good hug, and they were talking to each other. Jose was probably like, thank you for giving me like a chance back in the UFC, and Jonathan was like, yeah, it is what it is. I feel bad for Jonathan Martinez, but, you know, it is what it is. He'll live and he'll learn. He's still young. He'll come back. I believe in him. Jose, great win. I don't know. I honestly want to see the Dominic Cruz fight. That fight makes so much sense. Both very late in their careers. Jose still looks like he can put on a fight. Honestly, with the way the UFC is now, make that a main event, dude. Just make that a main event, bro. Great win for José Aldo. The King of Rio is back. I love seeing him win. I hated seeing Jonathan Martinez lose, though, but it is what it is. Great win. Great win. Great show. We move to the featured fight. Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino. Literally, I have no idea what to say about this fight. Vitor was doing well on the feet early, landing a lot of good shots, landing some decent leg kicks. He was looking pretty good. Anthony Smith looked like he couldn't really offer anything. People on Twitter are saying that Vitor possibly injured his leg or something. I don't know. I'm not fully bought into that idea yet. I honestly just believe that Vitor made a very stupid mistake. And he's super young. He's undefeated. Like Anthony Smith said, he has no reason to doubt himself. He's fucking undefeated, 11-0. And he goes for a double leg. And I've seen this in Vitor's fights where he goes for this double leg and leaves his neck like wide open. He does it so many times because he's so strong. He literally just lifts people up. And what he expects to happen is when he slams Anthony, he's like, my head's going to pop out. You know, I'm going to slam him so hard, his head didn't pop out, and he ended up getting tapped. He had a tap to the guillotine. Sucks to see. Vitor took it on the chin very well. He was like, that sucks, but I'm fine. You know, which is a good thing for him. Take the loss on the chin, move on. It happens. Anthony Smith, he won, dude. I don't know what else to say, bro. He fight the delusional master, the on-paper king. Anthony Smith won. It's fucking cool, I guess. He's so fucking delusional. Oh my god, they're gonna give him like a top 10 guy. He's gonna get fucking slaughtered, bro. Him versus Bogdan Guskov. No, dude. We move to Michel Pereira versus Ihor Potieria. Yet another slaughter. Another slaughter for Michel Pereira at middleweight. Legit, the first punch he landed on Ihor Potieria dropped him. It was a jab. It was literally this fucking jab on screen right now. It was more of like an off-balance thing. I thought, live reaction, I was like, holy shit, he landed a 1-2 and dropped him immediately. What the fuck? He then does a fucking backflip and lands on top of Ihor. A lot of controversy stemming from that. People are like, should have been a no contest. He landed a legal strike. From what I could see, and listen, I might just totally be blind. I don't think his knee really landed on his face. It more or so landed on like his shoulder and chest. It was more like, still illegal, by the way. Like his shin kind of hit his face. Still illegal, but he got away with it. He needs to stop doing that, because that's the second time he's done that. He legit, like, kicked Nico Price in the fucking noggin. But then they get up. Ihor's like, I'm gonna get up. And then fucking Michel Pereira snatches this tight-ass standing guillotine and makes Ihor tap in under a minute. Ihor has, like, a Shane Burgos delayed reaction type thing where they release him, and he steps back, and then he falls down, and he lands and catches himself, and then he goes unconscious. It is like, genuinely, I was like, oh my god, he might have died. I was like, oh my god, he actually possibly died. But he's good, he's good. Not Ihor. Fucking, Ihor's dead, by the way. No, he's not. Michel Pereira, what a fucking performance. Minus the backflip, of course. Honestly, he took no damage. I honestly don't mind seeing him fight Shara Bullet in Saudi Arabia. Because Ihor, no way they medically clear him to fight fucking Shara in Saudi Arabia now. Get Michel Pereira in there. That's a big test for both of those guys. Because Michel Pereira is fucking storming through everybody. Give him Shara Bullet. Give Shara Bullet step up in competition. Huh? Come on. Either that or give him a ranked guy. Because, listen, if Michel's doing this 3 times in a row, you gotta give him somebody, dude. That's 3 fights at middleweight under, like, 3 minutes total in fight time. That's fucking nuts. Against, like, Andre Petroski, who was undefeated in the UFC at the time. We have, of course, seen him lose to Jacob Malkoun. Michal Oleksiejczuk, who was, like, always seen as a tough out. He's never really been, like, demolished like that, and he got demolished. And then Ihor Pereira, who is a lesser-known guy who was taking the fight on short notice, who has lost like that, but, dude, he got fucking beat up bad. And he has a size advantage, because he was going down in weight recently. What are we going to do with this guy? What are we going to do with Michel Pereira? We move to the main card opener of Paul Craig versus Caio Borralho. Not a lot to say about this fight. Caio kept it standing. I didn't really like how well Paul Craig was doing on the feet, even though he doesn't move his head. Still shows Caio's inexperience on the feet to the day. But at the end of the day, he was fighting Paul Craig. So you're going to find his chin once on the feet, and that's exactly what he did. In the second round, he never really clipped him in the first, outside of a couple of solid left hands, but in the second, he clipped him early with a left hand. Oh shit, dropped my mic. It was a left straight down the pipe, and then he followed it up with a flying knee. He stood up, he let Paul Craig get up. Paul Craig rushes in because he's dumb. He gets clipped with a left hook, shatters his equilibrium, and he starts hobbling all over the place. Caio bum rushes him against the fence and lands a straight left that sets him down, and Paul Craig died. I don't remember the last time he went out that viciously, like out cold, because he slumped. Like, one of the most perfect examples I saw on Twitter was someone comparing it to like a bathroom school fight when someone just like folds on themselves. That's what this looked like. The way he just fucking takes a knee and then folds over. It's a pretty bad one. Good win for Caio Borralho. Remains undefeated in the UFC. I wonder what they're going to try and get next for this kid. He called out Jared Cannonier, even though Jared has the fight against Nasruddin Imavov. I don't know if he understands that fight's been booked. But yeah, also speaking of that fight, I'm going to UFC Louisville. So maybe I'll do like a video there. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Who gives a shit? We move to the featured prelim of Jack Shore versus Joanderson Brito. Went exactly kind of how I thought it would. Joe Anderson kind of just was able to bully Jack Shore to the punch. He was quicker. Jack Shore couldn't really mount any offense. There was a weird fight because Jack Shore was getting his lead leg kicked the fuck off, and one of the leg kicks from Joe Anderson actually punctured like a hole in his leg, and it started bleeding really bad. They brought the doctor in to check on it, was it in the second round or was it in the third? I fucking forget. I think it was the second. And the whole fight essentially was Joe Anderson landing leg kicks, not being able to really land good punches, but kind of just bullying Jack Shore in the clinch. Jack Shore had some moments in the clinch where he was able to flip position and mount his own offense. But then they bring in the doctor for his leg. And the doctor, by the way, Brazil, I don't know what it is with like I don't want to say this, but like that is genuinely one of the ref legit not the ref, the doctor legit, like, stuffed his thumb into the open wound of Jack Shore and actually made it worse. I don't understand what was going on there, but then they called off the fight. Honestly, I can understand the worry from the doctor, but if I'm being honest, that's one of the worst doctor stoppages I've seen in a while. Jack Shore is legit fine. He has nothing wrong with his leg. All he had was the injury. He was walking completely fine on it. So on the broadcast, they were like, maybe it's a broken leg. He's walking fine. There's no fracture. He's walking he's walking good, all right? There's nothing wrong there. So I honestly feel gutted a bit for Jack Shore. Unfortunate events. You took a fight in Brazil. It's kind of how it works. Good win for Joe Anderson. At this point, get him someone in the rankings, please. Please, just let that happen. This guy's been fucking torching everybody. Whether or not this was a good stoppage, the fight was one-way traffic most of the time. So, it is what it is. We move to Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Yasmin Lucindo. Honestly, just like I said, probably going to be a youth bully session. That's what it was. Alright? The other ones that I predicted on the card didn't go so well, other than the Ishmael Bonfim fight. But Yasmin, you could just tell just the speed difference, the timing, the quick twitch muscle. Like, Karolina kind of was just running into stuff just because Yasmin was so much quicker than she was. And the thing is, Karolina was still able to find some shots, but overwhelmingly, Yasmin Lucindo was just tagging her up. Excuse me again, I'm sorry. I'll edit that out. But yeah, I think Yasmin showed that she is a clear-cut contender. Since the Yasmin Yarugi fight, where she lost, the two ladies have had a good feature of bouts. She's beat a lot of good ladies now. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, a lot of people forget she was on like a 5-fight win streak riding into this fight against some young, hungry contenders. Yasmin Lucindo, she just kind of beat her to the punch every time. Even in like the clinch exchanges, Yasmin Lucindo just looked stronger and more able-bodied. Karolina wasn't like overly hurt. Besides like a punch, I forget if it was in the first or second, where it like immediately closed her eye up. Which of course that didn't help with the speed and being able to see shots coming. So great win for Lucindo, or Yasmin Lucindo. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, she probably won't retire because she still sees herself, she was a little competitive, even though it really wasn't. Yasmin Lucindo will be in the top 15. Great fight. Just great fight overall. We move to Elvis Brenner versus Miktebek Oralbai. I mean, what a fight. Miktebek honestly made it look easier than I thought it was. I thought it would be way uber competitive, if I'm being honest. The thing is, Elvis Brenner is such a dog that in the third round, he was still able to rally up. And even in the second, when he got top mount in the last, 30 seconds. Miktebek Oralbai showed a lot of negative IQ moments, trying to go for takedowns when he had Elvis Brenner severely hurt on the feet. That was kind of a theme of UFC 301, people resorting to takedowns, even though the people they're fighting legit cannot walk. Elvis Brenner, I mean, I don't know if 155 is his weight class, because honestly, seeing his ability to not be able to take punches against Miktebek Oralbai, I know Miktebek hits hard, but also the factor in the fact that that brutal weight cut video came out with him and Charles. I don't know, man. It honestly looked like every shot Miktebek hit him with fucking stumbled him around. And also on the ground, Elvis, while offering a lot of cool exchanges and scrambles, scrambled some nice X here. Miktebek just kind of seemed in his element. In the third round, and I forget about this, they took a point from Miktebek in the second round. Or was it the third? It was the second, I think. Which was total bullshit, which nullified that round to like a 9-9. So the scorecards, which was total, this is gay. This is gay as fuck. So stupid. But in the third round, it looked like Alves was winning. And we were like, this fight's about to be a fucking draw, dude. In the last 5 seconds of a very close round, Miktebek dropped the fuck out of Alves Brenner on his ass, which kind of sealed the deal. It was like, well, that's Miktebek's round. So Miktebek won 29-27, a rare scorecard you rarely see, due to the immediate point deduction, which, like, yeah, the ref had the right. It was a very clear fence grab, but we've never seen people, like, he didn't even give a warning. He just took that shit away. Kind of a little bit of favoritism again, but, you know, it is what it is. Miktebek still won. Great win for Miktebek Orabai. I'd like to see him fight another contender outside of the rankings. I'm not sure if he's fully ready for ranked competition. I know Alves was coming off the 3-fight win streak over some pretty... I mean, Guram was really the only stellar guy that he fought aside from, like, Zubaira, but he robbed Zubaira in that fight anyways. So... yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's next for either of these guys. Very fun fighters. Alves shows he's still a fucking dog, so that's cool. But Miktebek obviously won. We move to Joaquim Silva versus Drakkar Klose. Honestly, a very close fight. Anyways, first round, obviously Drakkar Klose, he kind of just outpointed and outpaced Joaquim Silva. Second round was pretty close, no pun intended. But I scored it to Drakkar because he had the knees in the clinch and Joaquim wasn't really landing. The third round is the round where every person who picked Drakkar Klose was shitting themselves. Joaquim Silva, for like the first time in his career, showed decent cardio. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He started putting a pace. Drakkar was gassed. He was so tired in that third round. It seemed like everything that Joaquim was throwing was landing, and fucking Curtis Blades moment, holy shit, hurting Drakkar Klose. And eventually, Drakkar had to revert back to old ways of just hugging, just fucking, And then Drakkar ends up getting into a guillotine, jump guillotine, standing guillotine, and he fucking reverse suplexes his way into a fully mounted guillotine, and he still got out. We love to see that shit. Honestly, I'm surprised Joaquim wasn't more hurt, because he legit banged his whole face off the fucking canvas. So Drakkar, he then gets out of that situation, but when he gets back up, or was it the knockdown? Did the knockdown happen before or after? Doesn't matter. Anyways, Drakkar gets fucking slumped by was it a right hook or left hook? I think it was a left hook. They were in the clinch, and Drakkar exits, and he tries to throw some. He gets fucking doinked. He goes down. Joaquim jumps on him, but then for the rest of the round, Drakkar kind of holds him. Very wild ending to a kind of mediocre average fight. Drakkar gets the nod, which is honestly surprising in Brazil. Good fight in the third round at least. The other two were kind of, doesn't really matter. Joaquim Silva again showing that he is a tough out, for a lot of these up-and-coming guys. Drakkar has another performance, I guess, I don't know. Good win. We move to Mauricio Ruffi versus Jamie Mullarkey. Honestly, one of the most impressive debuts / performances of the entire year, if I'm being honest. I think they're going a little far comparing him to young Conor McGregor. I understand the comparisons, but holy shit, did he torch through Jamie Mullarkey, which I will get into. He was landing on all cylinders. He was so much faster, so much more technical. I mean, he showed a guy who's been in the UFC for a long time in Jamie Mullarkey, like, a massive skill gap. Like, this was insane to watch. Mauricio used range beautifully. He did this fucking scissor sweep takedown where he legit launched himself and fucking collected the legs. It was one of the wildest shits I've ever seen. I don't have a photo up. I should have gotten one. That's my bad. But then they get up. Jamie kind of, in a lazy way, goes at him, leaves his fucking face wide open. Mauricio catches him with a slip right counter, and Jamie starts fucking doing a little jig, and Mauricio fucking then clips him with a flying knee, And Jamie Mullarkey still finds a way to get up. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he just starts beating the shit out of Jamie, just fucking teeing off on him. And eventually Jamie succumbs to the punches and the punishment, and he kind of just dies. Sad way to see Jamie go out. I'll tell you what about these fucking fighting nerds coming out of Brazil. They're creating some fucking monsters. I don't know what it is about the fighting nerds. They've got some killers in fucking the UFC right now. Jean Silva, who was supposed to fight at UFC 301. Mauricio Rufy, Caio Borralho. I'm definitely missing some guys. Or are those the three main dudes in the UFC? I'm probably missing somebody. But the fighting nerds are starting to make a prominent place in the UFC now. And Mauricio Rufy is one of my favorite lightweight prospects I've seen in a while. That was utter dominance and beautiful striking. And I can tell already the UFC is going to push this kid heavy. Because when Dana White uploads your fight, dude, you're going to get some fucking treatment, brother. Mauricio Rufy, can't wait to see what's next for him. He's a fucking star in the making, brother. We move to Dione Barboza versus Ernesta Carrasqueta. Dione won. She definitely clocked for the first 2 rounds just with ground and some decent ground and pound. She got to great positions, got some submission attempts in there. She had this really tight rear naked choke that for some reason she couldn't find the finish on. I have no idea how Ernesta was able to survive that shit. It was literally like under her neck and she still fought the hands. It was nuts. But in the 3rd round, Dione showed like a massive hole, which is her gas tank, which I knew going into the fight. I knew Ernesta has a great gas tank. She would be able to take advantage of Dione's lack of that. I thought it would have happened quicker. Even in the 2nd round, it was close. I had some people on Twitter saying that Ernesta should have gotten the nod. On first watch, I thought it was 2-0, Dione Barboza going into the 3rd. It is what it is. Ernesta for sure locked in that 3rd round with all her... Dione really couldn't get anything going. She was just kind of getting pieced up in that 3rd round, had a lot of worrying moments. Ernesta, we're lucky Ernesta just doesn't really have that great of punching power, or else Dione probably would have went out. She was clocking her a lot. Good win for Dione Barboza in her debut. Showed a massive hole with the cardio. Ernesta, kind of just see what her weaknesses are. Her grappling, just holding her down, being able to get to dominant positions. She did get up pretty well, but also in the first 2 rounds, Dione's striking looked pretty damn good, I must say. So, yeah, there it is. Good win. We move to Ismael Bonfim versus Vink Pichel. Again, kind of just like youth bullying a little bit. Ismael was just much quicker than Vink Pichel. Vink wasn't even really able to land stuff. Ismael showed a good gas tank, which is something a lot of people wanted to see from him going into this fight. Of course, his first 2 fights in the UFC, 2 first-round finishes, 1 going with him, 1 going against him. And it's also great to see him pick apart a guy like Vink Pichel, who always is a tough out for a lot of good guys. And Ismael really controlled him and didn't let Vink get into his type of style of fight, which is just gritty as shit. Ismael kind of just picked him apart, landed some good knees, landed a lot of good straight shots, a lot of good hooks. He threw a lot of power on these shots, and it reminds me of a Dricus Duplessis situation where throughout the whole fight, he was thrown with a lot of heat. And that's good to see that he's able to do that for 3 whole rounds. One thing I want to add is Vink Pichel, at the end of the first 2 rounds, was able to get to very good ground positions, which I don't know if that says anything or not. It was just kind of weird to see. And actually, in the 3rd round, going into the 3rd round, his coaches were like, do you think you can implement that more? He was like, I don't know. It's like, Vink Pichel is fucking hilarious. Good win for Ismael Bonfim. Yeah, dude. We move to the first fight of the night, Alessandro Costa versus Kevin Borjas. Honestly, really strange fight. The first round was very close. Both were landing some decent shots. I think Alessandro Costa was able to land the better shots, even though Kevin was able to throw some cool stuff like a flying knee in there, I think. At the start of the 2nd round, Alessandro Costa lands a leg kick, and it immediately shuts down Kevin Borjas' body. And for the rest of the fight, he's just getting leg kicked to death. He gets dropped like 2 or 3 times, I think, and then Alessandro goes for the kill and gets a ground and pound TKO. Very wild change of events from a very close fight to just a momentum shift and a half. insane. The stoppage was a little weird, if I'm being honest. But it is what it is. I don't think Kevin Borjas wanted to be in that fight anymore at that point. His leg was fucking fucked up. It legit took one leg kick and he started dying. Great win for Alessandro Costa. Get back in the win column. I think he's now 2-2 in the UFC. So that's good to see. Great comeback win after of course, the Steve Erceg loss. So, yeah, good win. Good way to start the card. Yeah, UFC 301 was a way better card than I was expecting. I hate to be like the guy that's always like, it's a sleeper card you gotta look out for. But like, that's kind of how it is all the time. These guys always want to put on shows, especially in Brazil when they're Brazilian, of course. Great fight. Had a lot of cool stuff happen. We go into a new fight week. UFC St. Louis. Fucking Missouri, huh? We get to see Derek Lewis in another main event for no fucking reason, bruh. Huh? Against Rodrigo Nascimento, who got knocked out by Chris Daukaus in 30 seconds. Yeah! I can't wait, dude. Dude, this fight. Why does that have to be the main event? What the fuck? You can't get a better fight? Dude, there's no way that fight's going 5 rounds. Go main it. Go main event that bitch. So stupid. So stupid. I went pretty good on picks for UFC 301. I think went 9-4 and 2-1 on confident picks. One of my better cards of the year. I've recently had a turnaround. I'm starting to do better. Okay? So, we're fucking doing solid. Okay? I missed the last 3 fights, though. Ooh, stinky. That's not good. No. So I was 9-1 going into the fucking last 3 fights. What are you gonna do about it, dude? What are you gonna do about it, bro? But yeah, I'll see you guys for my picks and breakdown. Actually, no. I'm gonna have another video for you guys this week. You guys check it out when it gets uploaded. Alright, I'll see you guys for that video. Peace.